Incorporated has been developing state-of-the-art instrumentation to meet the needs of the atmospheric science community for the past 30 years. Recently, SPEC has developed new, innovative instruments that measure the size, shape, and concentration of cloud and precipitation particles. The SPEC instruments are installed on the company Learjet and several other research aircraft operated by U.S. and international government agencies. SPEC scientists have participated with SPEC instruments in over 50 international research projects, including 10 major field campaigns in the last 5 years. The company has developed optical cloud particle probes with performance specifications that exceed all other instruments currently available. The Cloud Particle Imager, or CPI, provides high-definition images of cloud drops and ice particles as they pass through the sensors. When the aircraft penetrates a cloud, images of water drops and ice particles are displayed in real time on a computer screen in the aircraft. The SPEC 2DS probe incorporates 2 optical imaging probes in one canister. The 2DS has 10-micron pixel resolution and the fastest time response of any optical array probe available. Actual 10-micron particle resolution at jet aircraft speeds has supported collection of new datasets that show that previous cloud particle measurements of particles less than about 100 microns were erroneous. The 2DS and all other SPEC optical cloud probes are designed with probe tips that minimize shattering of large ice crystals. All SPEC cloud particle probes also record the arrival time of each individual particle, thereby making it possible to reject closely spaced particles that are the result of ice crystals shattering on the probe tips. The SPEC 3V CPI combines the CPI and 2DS into one cloud particle probe installed on the NCAR G5. The 2DS doubles as the CPI particle detection system and enables the CPI to make quantitative size distributions of both water drops and ice particles in mixed-phase clouds.
Very recently, we participated with the National Center for Atmospheric Research with their new Gulfstream 5 aircraft. They conducted a project down in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, called PREDICT, which looked at the clouds in those tropical environments. Now, we developed an instrument for them, and the instrument combines 2 of our instruments, our Cloud Particle Imager, our CPI, and the 2DS probe into a single instrument. So we've been able to take the best features of both, combine them into a single instrument, so we can get high definition, high-resolution images of ice crystals and much better quantitative measurements of the size distribution of these ice crystals and water droplets in clouds.
The SPEC High Volume Precipitation Spectrometer, or HVPS, incorporates 2DS electro-optics into a precipitation imaging probe, shown here installed in the tip tank of the Learjet. The HVPS has 150 micron pixels and images particles as large as 2 centimeters. The SPEC Fast Cloud Droplet Probe, or FCDP, incorporates advanced electronics that record the statistics of each particle so that droplet spacing can be measured and particle shattering can be reduced. The FCDP records the complete particle waveform for post-analysis. SPEC is the only company that currently manufactures a hermetically sealed cloud probe canister to prevent condensation on the optics and which is lighter than the standard probe canisters. SPEC also manufactures data acquisition systems in environmentally sealed housings that routinely operate at altitudes up to 65,000 feet. SPEC's in situ LiDAR measures cloud liquid water content, effective drop radius, and cloud extinction coefficient within a kilometer of the research aircraft. The in situ LiDAR has been flight tested on the SPEC Learjet and will soon be available as a commercial product. In addition to equipping the Learjet with sensors for cloud physics research, SPEC recently completed a contract with the Thai government to modify a new Beechcraft Super King Air 350 for cloud physics and aerosol research. The project involved extensive modifications to the airframe to install state-of-the-art cloud physics sensors, including the SPEC 2DS, FAST FSSP, CPI, and HVPS. In addition to the cloud physics sensors, the King Air was equipped with aerosol instrumentation, including a cloud condensation nucleus counter, a differential mobility analyzer, a passive cavity aerosol spectrometer, and a heated isokinetic aerosol inlet. SPEC created a complete solid model of the King Air that was used to analyze aircraft structure and airflow around the airframe, both of which are required to know where and how to install microphysics and aerosol instrumentation. The instrument installation required an FAA supplemental type certificate before being ferried to Bangkok, where Thai scientists and technicians were trained on the use of the equipment. In addition to cloud particle probes used on research aircraft, SPEC has developed a tethered balloon system used to measure cloud properties. This system supplies electrical power up the tether that allows the instrument package to make long-duration measurements of cloud properties. The tethered balloon system has been operated in Svalbard and at the South Pole. The miniature cloud probes developed for application on the tethered balloon system are also being modified for use on small UAVs.
We recently became involved in a project with NASA, which is a 5-year project involving their Global Hawk aircraft. These UAVs can fly around for long periods of time, unmanned, in environments where piloted aircraft cannot go. And the purpose of this mission is to fly for 30 hours at high altitude and looks at what's called subvisible cirrus, which have an influence on both the lower stratosphere and the upper troposphere. The influence of these clouds is multifaceted, in that sometimes it can transport water vapor into the stratosphere. It can also have an impact on the solar radiation coming into the Earth.
The atmospheric science community requires accurate measurements of cloud properties to validate satellite measurements and numerical models used to predict climate change. SPEC continues to develop new instruments to meet requirements of the atmospheric science community. SPEC's state-of-the-art instruments and Learjet research aircraft have participated in several U.S. and international field campaigns. From January through June 2010, the SPEC Learjet flew 200 research hours, measuring the properties of cirrus clouds for the U.S. Department of Energy Atmospheric Radiation Program. The Learjet flew precise flight patterns over remote sensors on the ground in Oklahoma and under A-train satellites in the mountain and plains states. In July 2011, SPEC participated with the National Center for Atmospheric Research's C-130 research aircraft in the Ice and Clouds experiment Tropics, called ICE-T, which was staged from St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The NCAR C-130 and SPEC Learjet investigated the origin and formation of ice in tropical cumulus clouds. Ice formation leads to rainfall in convective clouds, which is a component in numerical models of the hydrological cycle and climate change. SPEC is a small, high-tech company in Boulder, Colorado, dedicated to providing the atmospheric science community with new, innovative technology to help understand the rapidly changing climate of our planet Earth.